You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the Bulls holding on for a win against the Portland Trailblazers of all team, which put the Bulls back to one game below 500. We were just here. We're going to have a better result this time. And then last, we do know how long Julian Phillips is expected to be out for the Chicago Bulls. We'll talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Pat, the Bulls, they make it interesting, bro. Like, a 12-point lead at one point in time. Somehow the Portland Trailblazers go on a run. They end up taking the lead back briefly. It even gets interesting down the stretch where it was tied. But when it's all said and done, the Chicago Bulls do hold on for a victory. How did you feel about this game, brother?
Clutch wins, dog. Another clutch win. Bulls cannot win unless it's a clutch win. No, honestly, I mean, listen, the Bulls, the offense, dog. The offense, hot third quarter shooting the three ball. It's the one quarter that we score above 30 points. Outside of that, 5 for 22 from the 3-point line in the rest of the quarters. Yeah. It's going to be tough to win against even the worst NBA teams. By the way, the Trailblazers are not good. The Trailblazers are competitive, right? When you look at some of those games versus some top teams, they have some competitive matchups in there. Played Denver tough. They played a tough game against the Knicks. They had I think another tough one in there against Boston or something like that. One of those top teams. Maybe it was Milwaukee. I think a tough game against Milwaukee. So they play them tough, right? But they're not a good basketball team. And the problem with the Chicago Bulls is when the Bulls are up 12, they can't hold on to leads because they're a good enough basketball team to go, hey, listen, we're going to fire up this three. And at a minimum, we're going to try and hit as many of them as possible. And that's really just what happened in the fourth quarter. I mean, this Bulls team, 21 points in that fourth quarter in total. And you had a Portland team that shot the three ball at 45%. Chicago Bulls 1 for 8 in the fourth quarter. So it's no wonder that you're struggling to find a way to win games, but they do end up getting in the win. It's tooth and nail to get there. And having a win, a tough win, an ugly win is better than having a blown lead. So I'll take the win. A win is a win.
The thing with the problem with that too, is that the Portland Trailblazers make 5. They go 5-11 in the fourth quarter. Guess how many 3-pointers they made that whole game? 8. That's it. 8. That's just tough. But then even outside of that too, like DeAndre Ayton down the stretch of that game he played terrible in the fourth quarter, only 0 for 1 in the fourth quarter. But in the third quarter, he started playing a little bit better. But it just overall, the Bulls' inability to hold on to leads worries me in the sense that once you start getting into the play-in, those are going to be tough games for you, right? Like, You can't have a breakdown like that against a team in the play-in. You just can't do that. So, hopefully the Bulls figure it out. I'm glad they were able to still hold on to the victory. We had some big performances tonight. DeMar DeRozan with 28 points. Nikola Vucevic with 22 points, 9 rebounds in this game. Ayo Dosunmu continues his just ascent. He's only 2 of 6 from three-point range, but 9 of 17 overall from the field. 23 points from this game. 10 assists. A 20-10 game from Ayo Dosunmu. And then you get the bench production. You get Ernie Lop, who led the team off the bench as far as minutes. He had 9. Him and Andre Drummond tied with both 9 points. Drum also had 9 and 11. When you look at the production from the players, who impressed you the most tonight on the Chicago Bulls side of things?
What I like about the ascension of Ayo is that he's getting everybody involved. He's finding DeMar DeRozan on the wing. He's able to find Nikola Vucevic down low, finding tough buckets. Yeah, I mean, and finishing at the rim really well. I think that when you look at how Ayo Dosunmu played tonight, just getting everything involved, not able to knock down the 3-ball. But I think it's the same conversation we had with Kobe, right? How do you make an impact if your shot that you normally knock down isn't falling? 2 for 6 tonight? Not a terrible night, but we've seen Ayo be more of a 4 for 6 guy as of recent. He made more of an impact facilitating the basketball. He made more of an impact being in the lane, trying to cut downhill. Made more of an impact just finding guys open and being able to get them in the right position. I love the way that Ayo played tonight, and I think that it's a big reason why you end up getting a win. On the flip side of that, a lot of the guy he was trying to find quite a bit, and I think what makes it tough tonight is this is probably his worst game we've seen in a while. Andre Drummond, just tough night tonight for Andre Drummond. Ended up, I don't know if y'all saw this or not, needs his tooth pulled after that shot to the mouth that he took from what's the young big guy? I'm not saying that's a pause. I don't feel like that's not a pause.
Shot to the mouth from a young big guy.
Shot to the mouth.
That's what I was about to say. The shot to the mouth thing you could have got by. You threw in from a young big guy.
Young big guy was crazy. No, it was Duop Reith. Yeah, basically trying to swipe at the ball, ended up hitting him in the mouth, and yeah, he's either gonna get his tooth fixed or pulled. So there's a reason that he left the game a little bit early tonight. But just a tough night for Drum overall. But outside of that, I think that Ayo found everybody really well.
Yeah. Ayo did a really good job at distributing, keeping his head up, understanding what the defense was trying to do, which is part of his growth. Like Ayo's really, really developed nice for the Chicago Bulls. How'd you feel about Ernolop in his minutes today? Not great from 3-point range. Hit a couple of floaters, had some good defensive moments. How'd you feel about OB coming off the bench?
He's fearless, I'll tell you that much, and I love that. You could tell he's been a pro before, and he's like, I just got to find my shot at this level. 4 for 9 on the day, nothing crazy numbers wise, but 25 minutes off of the bench. I mean, this is a guy that wasn't even in the NBA, 10 games ago?
Yeah.
So now 25 minutes off of the bench, that's good production. That is, 9 points, need a little bit more, got to adjust a little bit better. Maybe don't run into dudes with your elbows when you're up one basket, because that should have been a foul called on Bidham, but I'll take what I can get. Yeah, I mean, but I thought that he played just a consistent brand of basketball. Still struggling a little bit. No, I'm not going to say a little bit. Still struggling on the defensive end. I think that's the one spot where I've seen him kind of look the most lost. But I think even overseas, he was more of a scorer. He was more of a guy on the offensive end than on the defensive end. I'm not expecting him to change who he is. He's just got to get used to kind of fitting in with that team defense. And a lot of the dudes that were able to hide him aren't playing.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think OB's fine defensively. He's active defensively. He doesn't back down. Ayo Dosunmu, just to go over some numbers today. When he was on the court today in his 38 minutes played, the Bulls were plus 12 in those moments, had a net rating of 15 and a defensive rating of 105. Ayo Dosunmu's making such an impact for this Bulls team right now. And, especially while Kobe's out, we need every bit of it. Here's the question I'm going to throw to you, Pat. Seeing Ayo look like this again, playing the point guard role, has that changed at all? Because I know we've said very much so still that Ayo's a combo guard. He's not necessarily a point guard.
Yeah.
Has this changed your mindset at all in this seeing his run with this while Kobe's been out?
No. It's not a slight to him at all. I think it's just that you've got two guys that can do it. So don't worry about sitting there having lockdown defined roles. You know what I mean? When Kobe White's back, do I like him at the point guard position? Yeah, because I think he's a very good vocal leader. I think Ayo Dosunmu is also stepping up and becoming a vocal leader. I think that Kobe White, his speed allows him to put guys in worse positions. But Ayo Dosunmu is not slow, maybe a step slower than Kobe, but it's not like a whole foot behind him, right? So like the fact that you have two guys that can be competent in this area, and they both have figured out kind of how to play off ball with each other, I think you're in a great position. allow Io at times to run the point. If you want to see Kobe get going more off ball, offensively more, allow Kobe to run the point more. If you want to see Io get going off ball, it really just depends on the matchup. And the difference with these two is we saw the fact that they can operate in both, right? You look at the Atlanta situation, neither of them know how to operate off ball. Like, they're just like, I don't like catch and shoot. Relax, dog. I need to be able to create the shot. But the fact that Kobe and Io both have developed the skill set to be able to do both things, like, that's I tweeted this out a couple of days ago. They're the bright spot of this season because they're doing things I never expected them to add to their skill set.
Yeah, for sure. That's 100%. I love the way that the skill set fits together as well. Next up, though, we're going to be breaking down the Chicago Bulls being one game below 500 yet again. Every time we get here, Pat, we're going to talk about that. Before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is LinkedIn. When you're hiring for small businesses, you want to find the qualified candidates that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many qualified candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows the small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or the resources to hire. LinkedIn is consistently finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply.
You lucky you didn't get that eBay Motors ad read, dog. That mug. I walked right into that one, dog. You got to proofread these ad reads now, dog.
No,
it's
you
crazy.
know what you guys didn't walk into? The Anthony Black and Grady Dick jersey swap.
Hey, listen.
Did you see that the guy on the Orlando Magic social media team that posted he got fired? He got fired, bro. He got fired. That's crazy.
Dog, they fired him?
They fired him, bro. They fired him.
But we all saw it, though. Like, he didn't specifically post it, right? Like, I saw, like, TV clips posting it. Oh,
got
that's
fired,
tough,
bro.
dog.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Hey, man, go get hired by the Raptors. Like,
hey, but you know what? The Bulls, I feel like we have more. We joke more with us. Come over to the Chicago Bulls.
Listen. Jerry ain't letting that fly, dog. Black what?
You know, Jerry Reinsdorf and P. Diddy are pretty close. I think he may let it fly.
Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you ever gone through a time of great swallowing? Is there a topic in here somewhere? Can we talk about the basketball?
The Bulls are one game below 500, Pat.
Yeah, and apparently Jerry Reinsdorf's one game below P. Diddy.
We were here about a week ago. We were here. We ended up losing 2 games in a row. We played the Houston Rockets on Thursday. Pat, how confident are you in the Bulls' chances to finally get to 500? Something that's eluded the team since November of 2022.
That's crazy. I've said that this is their best chance to go on a nice little run by the end of the season. You've got these 2 games here. You win this one. You got the Rockets coming into town. No Alperen Şengün, which makes a big difference. We know what he's able to do when he's on the floor, but still a young athletic team. And so it's going to be a tough win, but I think that this is probably the best chance that the Bulls have been able to have to get above 500. Mm-hmm. And realistically speaking, this is the time where if they can lock it, now this is the biggest if, because the Bulls, as I said, they are Sisyphus. They are destined to roll back down the other way. You get the Celtics, tough game, right? Very tough game. You have not played the Celtics well, but that could put you a game above 500. You get the Wizards again. If I'm not counting that as 2 games above 500, I don't know what else to call it. You get Indiana on that stretch. We've played Indiana really well. You get Brooklyn. You can start to not only be above 500, but you can start to not only get to 500, but have a possibility to build up some games here where you can get above 500 and maybe finish the season off a little bit better than you thought it was. Like the finish to the season, like there's some tough games in there, but if over this next stretch you can get to like a 2 to maybe 3 games above 500, you finish it out. T-Wolves, Hawks, Knicks, Magic, Knicks, Pistons, Wizards, Knicks. A lot of games against the Knicks. It's going to get very dangerous.
3 games against the Knicks to finish the season. So
like that to me is a scenario where maybe you finish the season out 45 and whatever, or then you kind of push because now you've got a little bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence on your side, and hopefully you're getting Kobe White back. Now, as I said, huge if. I don't know if I expect that to happen, but if there's ever a time where you're going to be able to go on a run, this is the stretch of the season where you need to make it happen.
13 games left on the season. 13 games left. The Bulls are going to have to win, what, if my math's correct, 7 out of those 13 games to finish at 500? Yeah, 7 out of those games to finish at a 500.
You confident in that?
Here's the thing Houston.
no.
Listen, if we can get to 500 against Houston, right? The Boston game, I'm not going to be confident we can beat Boston. But then Washington, Indiana, you got 2 winnable games there. We can beat Brooklyn. We've beat Minnesota before. The 3 games against New York, the game against Orlando that always plays us tough, are a little troublesome. But the fact that we got 2 games left against Washington left here, we got another game left against Detroit. I don't know, bro. I may feel safe in us getting to 500. That means it's not going to happen.
I mean, and
we're going to win 2 games for the rest of the season.
Dang it. The biggest question, here's the thing. The biggest question you got to ask is, can the Bulls find a way to have another December? Right? Like you had realistically speaking, your season has been okay for the most part, but you had a horrible November this year. A 4-12 November is what puts you here. What has you feeling
4-15, my guy. Oh wait, no, we started
4-15 over that stretch is what we went, but it was a 4-12 November. Yeah. But in December you went 9-5. January you went 8-7. Right, that's 500. 1 game above 500. February 5-5. 500. Right now we're sitting at 5-4. You got to find a way to have 1 more December month, and you may be able to finish this season on a high note, finish this season strong, finish this season feeling a little bit more confident in maybe what the future of this team can be, because now you're heading into a playoffs that is not led by DeMar and Vooch and Zach. You're heading into a play-in, hopefully playoffs that is led by Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, some assistance from DeMar, some assistance from Vooch. Like you feel like, okay, maybe we just need to add a couple more pieces to the young guys that we have here, because they're kind of leading the way. And that's why I love seeing how Ayo played tonight. That's why I love seeing how Kobe has been able to play this season, because it changes what you feel like the future outlook of this team could be. And it changes what a playoff series means to me. A playoff series with Vooch and DeMar and Zach don't mean nothing to me no more.
What do you think is more valuable to the team? A playoff series where you get eliminated in 4 games, you get swept, or playing solidly in the play-in, but maybe missing the play-in and getting that lottery pick?
What's more value? I think you've got guys who have been on the team too long to say that a play-in loss is valuable to them. At this point, if you're going to lead the way and you want to feel a little bit more confidence going into what the team is next year, a Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu led playoff series, even if it ends in 4-0, 4-1, right, versus Boston, because I don't expect us to beat them. You're putting yourself now in a situation where, like, okay, you need to know what it's like to lead in playoff pressure. You need to know what it's like to have to figure it out in playoff pressure. You can't just sit there and say, DeMar, go score for us real quick. Go try and bail us out of this. And I'm sure there'll be a game that will, probably the one game we win, DeMar bails us out, right? Like that'll change it all.
That's the thing. It's not even just the players at that point. You got to also, it's Billy Donovan. Is he going to put the ball in their hands, or is he going to go back to DeMar DeRozan?
Well, I mean, listen.
Billy Donovan could be like, bam, it's playoffs. All right, Kobe, You had a great season for us. I got 12 shots for you. DeMar, 26 of those.
Well, I think what's tough is that you don't have a choice anymore. Unless you're gonna give Vooch the other like 15 to 20 shots, like you don't have a choice. Like
first of all, this is a Billy Donovan coach team. There is always a choice, and there's always a wrong one. I get what you're saying. What you're saying is you talk very logical about this team, like Billy Bubblegum Donovan isn't our coach, bro.
Listen, I think that I don't know. Look, I feel bad for Billy now because I'm just like he doing all he can. We can't knock no shots down, dog. Like
you can give Billy Donovan a scroll written by Moses on the stone tablet. He'll read it and say, "All right, it says this. I should give the ball to Kobe." Cool, but what if the other team read this? Give the ball to DeMar. We're gonna beat them at what they think we're gonna do.
Hey, listen, at what point in the game are we at? Are we in the last minute and 45 seconds? I'm giving the ball to DeMar. Last minute 45, I'm giving the ball to DeMar.
By the way, I'm just saying. I don't know if you checked most mocks since they started on Monday. A lot of mocks have Terrence Shannon Jr. going to the Chicago Bulls. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to leave that there.
Where do they have them slated? Where do they have the Bulls slated at right now?
Between 12 and 14.
I think you can get there. You got to fall out of the play-in.
You got to fall. Well, you can stay in the play-in. You just have to not make it out the play-in tournament. So,
listen. If it can
the game just changed when I mentioned your boy Terrence Shannon Jr.
Listen. It's the in-air adjustment, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching that big Illini dub, Big Ten champions. Yeah, I mean, come on now.
Bro, I need you to enunciate the N in 10 because I definitely didn't think that's what you said for a second. My brain had to catch up.
Big Ten. What else would I mean, listen, shout out to him, but maybe not with everything he's got going on. Maybe let's not say that. But no, Big Ten champion.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'm not playing with him. Yeah, no, if I can get TSJ, hey, take the L. Take the L, bro. That boy, Hooper, dog. I gotta tell you guys all about Stitch Fix, man. Listen, if you want to get an instant confidence boost, Stitch Fix is where you get where you can get an outfit from that will make you look really good. And that's what I get at Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you can get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget. They do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. I mean, here's the thing. You go through the app, you pick whether you like something, you dislike something. As you refine your style, your stylist will kind of figure that out, figure out your price points, figure out your budget, and tell you or send you the pieces that fit you the most. There's a give and take here. It's not just sitting there looking at it and saying, we'll figure it out. They'll send you some things. You may like some certain things, but the best way to do it is to be able to just kind of niche down your style, because it's a style that makes you feel as good as you look. And you can get started today with stitchfix.com/locked on. I mean, look, biggest thing that you guys got to understand is that if you don't have the time to go shopping, this is the easiest way to get new clothing in your closet. Again, that is stitchfix.com/locked on. Stitchfix.com/locked on.
All right, Pat, before we go for the day, so we both try to put that away at the same time. Julian Phillips, the Bulls did announce on Sunday that Julian Phillips will be gone for at least 2 weeks. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up and talk about this before we leave today is because seeing players like Ernalop lead the team in minutes off the bench, seeing Dalen Terry get considerable time, him and Javon Carter, I think, were tied for minutes played today. Do you think that, not in his own control, but like this time missed by Julian Phillips, do you think this is key developmental time in some of these games, not having Julian Phillips out there on the court?
I mean, everything for him is key development times. He's a young guy trying to find his way in the league, trying to figure out how he fits on this team, how aggressive he needs to be. I mean, listen, these are the moments now where you're figuring out kind of where you fit in the rotation as well. If you play well down this stretch of games that he's now not going to be a part of, you're in the rotation. Unaralt Batim has shown us some things, and he really has not left the rotation in probably since his debut at a game. I think there was one game there where he didn't play very much. But outside of that, he's been somebody who's consistently been in the rotation for Billy Donovan. Like, this is Julian Phillips not being able to play this time is going to be a little bit of a setback. But if he can get back, I mean, 2 weeks, he should come back with what? 2 games left, if that.
No, he'll come back with about 4 or 5 games.
4 games left, maybe. Because what we got Friday, where we at? Well, that's 1 week, and that is 2 weeks. He'd have about 3 games left. So he'd come back Pistons, Wizards, Knicks. That's not a bad 3 games to come back on. You come back on 2 teams that are dog water, and then you get the Knicks to kind of ramp yourself up right before the playoffs, even though they probably won't be playing anybody serious in that. But I take it back. Forgot who the coach was. You'll be playing a very tough 48-minute game versus the New York Knicks for the last game of the season, because Tom Thibodeau is going to be running Josh Hart 48 minutes out there. But yeah, I'm just that is it's not the worst thing in the world to come back to those 3 and just try to get your body back right. But hopefully Julian's able to get back soon.
And I knew not to trust your accountant, bro. If he's gone from 2 weeks from Sunday when they announced, he'll be back with 6 games left.
2 weeks. We just played. Hold on now. Am I tweaking? Oh, my bad. I didn't count the Rockets game. I was scrolled down. That's my bad. I didn't count the Rockets game. That's my bad. My half dog. It is what it is.
Hey, listen, this is why we're a team, bro. I'm here to help back you up. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think that he's going to be able to come back, and if the Bulls are all but certain, man, they'd have to have a catastrophe to miss the play-in. So he's going to able to get some postseason play for wherever that is, right? And I think that's important. And the biggest thing is that is Billy going to trust him when he gets back? It seemed like Billy was trusting him more. He was ahead of Dalen in the rotation before he went down with injury. Javon started to play a little bit better, so we'll see what happens there. But as long as Billy trusts him, he's going to be able to get some reps back in. But the most important thing is this offseason anyway, right? Working with the player development staff for the full offseason, them having a plan for him. Those are the most important things for Julian Phillips. So, we'll see what that looks like, man.
Who are the young guys that you expect the Bulls to be relying on in the future that you see right now?
To rely on the future?
Listen, because we know, right, like Dalen Terry's a role guy. Unless there's a massive jump that comes here, the best he's going to be right now is a 15 to 20 minutes off the bench type of dude that you hope, right? I think that's the best you hope for him. But who are the guys that you see on this team right now that you feel like the Bulls are actually going to be relying on moving forward?
I think 15, 20 minutes you're relying on somebody, but I think OB is going to step into a much larger.
We threw Leroy out there today for 20. What did he get? 16?
I mean, but he had some really good
minutes. We relying on him.
We were. He had some really good defensive stretches in there against their guards. I don't want to rely on Leroy, but I mean, Leroy's still on the roster. But yeah, OB definitely is going to be one. I think he's shown everything. He's going to be a part of that rotation on top of his already needing shooting for sure. And I think Julian, I think when you look at what Julian has already shown in the fact that he doesn't back down, he's not afraid to shoot the ball, he doesn't hesitate. I think those are going to be things that earn him minutes right away. His ability to get timely rebounds, block some shots as well. So if I had to pick 2 players out of that outside of Io and Kobe, and of course, P. Will is going to get his minutes when he comes back too. I think OB and Julian are the 2 that I bet on.
Yeah, it's weird because they're so young, but just even Adama a little bit when we got to see him, the instinctual things, just being where are you supposed to be? Up right where you are. Good to see that. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen that a ton from a lot of the young guys that we brought in. And I mean, heck, even you think about Patrick Williams, who's not on the floor and hasn't been on the floor, right? When we saw Julian Phillips come in for P. Will, it was almost a breath of fresh air because it was he's just cutting. All he's doing is cutting to the basket and finding ways to get downhill. So I would agree with you. I think that those are you've got some interesting young pieces on this team, and if you can add somebody like a Terrence Shannon Jr., who seems like just a pure scorer and a dominant player, maybe there's some hope for the future of this Bulls team. They've been quietly me and P. Kid were talking about this. They've been quietly where you're okay, why are we sticking with this core? And then all of a sudden you look up and you're hey, a lot of these young dudes are developing at a much quicker rate than I expected. Like maybe this is just the long game that we're waiting on with.
I mean, could definitely be a possibility. So, I mean, look, we always knew that they were drafting raw pieces, right? The problem is that they just installed a player development department this offseason, and having now a full offseason with that department already in place, and really to see how that does help the players that are still raw, like a Io, like a Julian Phillips, whoever we do draft this year as well. If we do go, I kind of hope that we go kind of more of a ready-made skill set than a player that just needs a bunch of development, but we'll get to that when we talk about the offseason. But having that player development department in there, I'm excited to see, man.
AK loves a 19-year-old dude that doesn't really jump out of the gym, doesn't really facilitate that well, doesn't really dunk that well, but man, he's got time. Man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. And as gross as it was, that was a win. C-Rat! We barely won! Had us on the run! Drum lost the tooth! What you gonna do? How we almost lose to Portland? We sucking.
All right, y'all. You can follow me at CEO Haize. You can follow us collectively, Locked On Bulls, for however much longer Pat is still around here with that one. Make sure you guys stay in tune with us. We're available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube and the Odyssey app. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, and we are out here.
Peace. I didn't say it. Need the Patreon version of that bar. Patreon's a safe space. YouTube, give me my channel back.